The Sixth ruled England in the 15th century and was pretty unsuccessful. For instance, the Hundred Years' War was largely lost during his reign. He had a mental breakdown. The War of the Roses began and he lost power to the House of York, and he died in the Tower of London. But 30 years after he died, after Henry VII had formed the Tudor dynasty and ended the War of the Roses, people began to sort of worship Henry VI, and nobody's exactly sure why. Henry VI was called generous and stuff like that at the time, but this doesn't explain why a shrine was built for him at Windsor and people travelled from all over the country to visit it. So you could speculate that this cult around him was a political play on the part of Henry VII. The Seventh was, after all, a fellow Lancastrian, and creating a cult around Henry VI could have helped bolster his claim to the throne. So he requested that the Pope make him a saint, and in 1500 the Miracles of Henry VI was published. In this publication it is said that Henry VI cured the blind, rescued people from fires, and even resurrected 22 people from the dead. But as the Tudors gained in strength, this cult largely died out, but it is just one of many cults that developed around historical figures. For instance, in the late 10th century, Edward the Martyr was killed by his mother-in-law, so her son Ethelred the Unready could be made king. But a couple decades later, Ethelred the Unready built a shrine to his half-brother in Shaftesbury and said that he performed miracles, so people from all over the country flocked to go worship him essentially. Many Anglo-Saxon kings and noblemen became saints, or at least were treated as such, like Edith of Wilton, Eadburh of Winchester, and Edward the Confessor. But after the Normans invaded, they tried to clamp down on all of this. Nobody knows exactly why some historical figures were chosen and others weren't, and it's hard to say that they were always political. For instance, there is Edmund the Martyr. Now, he was killed by Vikings or Nordic people, but a few decades later, the Nordic people who had settled in England started calling him a saint.